We know, we hear from teachers and we hear from parents that it's been really a struggle to keep the kids engaged in school. They are not interacting with the teachers. They are not interacting with the other kids at school. And those relationships are so important that they are formative years and so important to build those EQ muscles.
This is Daniela. She's also working in STRUT Learning with Mish.
We have sessions that are geared specifically towards educators, ones that are geared towards parents, and then ones that can be geared towards both. So it's definitely someone, whether you're an educator or parent, there's enough resources available within our summit to address any of their issues.
This is Sherine. She is the event manager. She knows all the details about this summit. Welcome back to PhD Coffee Time. This is the online community for you as PhD student to get motivation, peer support, and practical tips during your PhD. If you remember my EQ video with Mish, we've spoken about how EQ is really important for you to be successful as a researcher.
There are a lot of non-academic skills that we need, looking at communication, relationship development, self-awareness. A lot of terms that we hear in the public are actually EQ. Leadership, grit, perseverance, passion, friendliness, those are all actually EQ.
Today, Mish has introduced me to his two other friends who are actually expanding these important skills of EQ to a summit called EQuip2Achieve, which I really love because you have to equip yourself with EQ to achieve in life. So today I got two guests with me, Daniela and Sherine, and I love to hear more about the summit. First of all, I'd like Daniela maybe to explain to us, why do you have this idea to create this summit? Or what are the problems you want to solve?
Thank you. It's great to be here. We have been working to build these online tools for kids to improve their EQ, as you learned from Mitch the other day. In the last year, we know, we hear from teachers and we hear from parents that it's been really a struggle to keep the kids engaged in school and also to maintain their EQ because they are not interacting with the teachers. They're not interacting with the other kids at school. And those relationships are so important that they're formative years and so important to build those EQ muscles. And so they're losing a lot of that. And, also motivation, how to stay really connected in the classroom when, you're in Zoom for hours and all of those kinds of things. So we feel that many parents and even teachers are not quite equipped to deal with all of these challenges that are happening right now. It's getting better, but the other problem is that it's such a long process and we're still not out of it. And that not knowing when it's going to end keeps adding challenge on top of challenge. And so we thought, why not to, put this summit together where EQ and SEL experts and educators, they can come together and talk about some things that parents and teachers can do right away to help their kids in their lives to maintain their level of EQ or even improve. And if they can do that, everything kind of falls into place. They will do better in school, they will do better at home during social isolation and all of those things. So the idea is not to talk about SEL and EQ as this academic subject, which it is, but it's to really give very targeted information that people can use right away to make a difference.
I personally take a lot of Zoom calls and sometimes I get Zoom fatigue even as an adult. Nowadays, this is really relevant to PhD students because I think most of the professors that are watching here now and postdoc and PhD, many of us have children at home. And besides research, they still need to make sure the children are learning properly at home in the new way of behind the screen type of learning. I think it's a unique challenge. Even as educator ourselves, I think this is a very intriguing topic. I think it's worth having a summit to dissect it. And I felt proud that my audience who are more academic, I think they would appreciate both the subject knowledge as well as the practicality of how to resolve this type of really painful problem as parents.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to hear more about how this summit will be organized. Like, we are all over the world. My audience are from everywhere on this planet and many time zones. So how can they participate in the summit?
So the summit takes place over 4 days. It's April 8th through the 11th. It's asynchronous. We have all our sessions available so that anyone can come and log on, and they'll be able to have access to all of our sessions. We'll probably have anywhere from 30 to 40 sessions with different topics covered under this space. So we have everyone from PhD and experts within SEL to educators that have found a way to create a creative environment through virtual learning and are offering their tools and techniques that way as well. We have sessions that are geared specifically towards educators, ones that are geared towards parents, and then ones that can be geared towards both. So it's definitely someone, whether you're an educator or parent, there's enough resources available within our summit to address any of their issues. They'll have access to all of those sessions at any point during the 4-day period. And we're also going to make it available for the week after that. During those 4 days, we'll probably also have a live component, which will allow for some more interaction with the speakers. So after watching a session, you can then go and ask for more information from the speakers as well. We have a couple of our speakers who will touch on more broader topics, falling under mindfulness, to something very specific as, for example, we have for those that are used to being student athletes, and now they're not as involved in sports, and how the techniques of ways to deal with those particular students. Also ones about being so engaged on technology all the time and what to do to kind of defocus from technology, since that's in front of them all the time now. So different things like that that can be addressed for both educators and parents to hopefully provide resources for all of them about techniques they can start implementing today, walking away from the summit.
Thank you, Sherine. I think this is a really creative framework of disseminating knowledge and webinars in general from a scientist perspective, because we go to webinars a lot, and sometimes online conference are very hard to catch when we have 4 days of live event and it's a hit or miss. You either have to stay up really late if you were in the different time zones. I think it's quite smart that you have 4 days plus 1 week to consume all of the ideas. So I really applaud to how friendly it is to all the PhD parents out there globally to see this and participate in the summit.
Thank you.
That's great. Yeah, I'm just also going to mention that for the PhD students, not only as parents, but also those who are PhD students in the areas of education or psychology, really interested in SEL and EQ, I think that would be very beneficial to that audience as well.
Yeah, for sure, because I know I have non-STEM PhD audience, and we are calling you guys out to come and join this. It's a really great way to academically learn about SEL and also network with other SEL academic experts.
And so I would say that anybody for the summit, for an audience of educators and parents of kindergarten, so 5 to 8th grade, so 14, anywhere in that age group could definitely benefit from the resources we have. Although that's not to say that anybody who has children under the age of 5 or those in high school, because all of these are techniques that can be used in your daily life just to improve your own emotional intelligence and awareness. Those techniques can be used really by anyone.
So I have a hard question for both of you, because you know how poor PhD students are, and I noticed you guys have a really expensive summit. So could you share more about how we should afford this summit, how to justify the expenses?
With students, so that includes undergrad students, graduate students, so PhD and also postdocs, we have heavily discounted ticket, $75, and that would be for full access. So to all of the sessions during the 4 days, plus that week afterwards.
So I'll add on to, for anybody who is not currently a PhD student, let's say you want to pass this on to someone else you know who's a parent or an educator that could benefit being referred through this partnership, we can offer a link that will allow them to have a discounted rate of $100 for a ticket, gives them the same full 4-day access, but for $100 instead of the $225. So we'll pass that information on to Vera to get out to others to be able to get that discounted pricing through this as well.
And I'll also add to that we are going to have, Sherine mentioned, 30 to 40 speakers. So it's a lot of content. We know that for students, it might be a little bit expensive, but you are going to get a lot of content for it.
$100 discount is almost like a half price. So even I'm now thinking of it since I'm no longer postdoc. So I need to, damn it, I'm no longer postdoc. To finish off this video, I'd like to see your vision of this summit a little bit more. So it maybe in hindsight by after April, what do you think people would walk away from this summit after participating in the summit?
We are really trying to create a community. And so what we are doing is even on our social media, Facebook and LinkedIn, for example, we have groups, not just the pages, because we want to continue this conversation. We want to see, to hear from people, this is working. I tried this and it was great. Or, this worked with, my 5-year-old, but it didn't work with my 11-year-old. And things like that, those kinds of conversations, and keep adding to the ideas. And the idea is also that by creating this community and seeing what are the other pain points, other hot topics in this arena of EQ and remote learning, that we might have another summit in a few months. And, depending on what the new topics are, because the world is changing so fast and education right now is changing so fast. So we believe that this is just the beginning of this change, and we hope to continue the conversation.
Just to add on to that, a lot of the conversations we've been having with speakers and with partner organizations are all about helping and supporting each other for a bigger picture. So I think even through this, we're able to now provide those connections between all the individuals and groups that are working together to hopefully allow them to kind of support each other's mission and use each other as resources and tools to kind of expand their outlook further as well.
This is aligning to my mission of creating a platform for PhD students and supporting each other and making the community easier to communicate. So I really resonate with your goal, and I wish you all the best, the success of creating your summit. So I wish you best of luck and a lot of great participation from everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.